naked and, oh, that's child porn, but whatever. Makes the problem 4. They're on the same page there, but in Japan, for you know, you see the men without anything. It's just they're Ken dolls, and so I mean that you think that would be, you know, yeah, it's. I mean, they're obviously trying to hold up to a standard, but comment back here.
Another question. Is it common for companies to advertise their evenings like Pizza Hut through code kiosks?
I remember that example. I've not had a chance to watch it. The answer to that is no. You don't see that a lot. Mostly in Japan, this is something that, and this kind of basically touches on censorship because of content. I don't know basically how the anime industry works now. Like in the 80s, Japan had a bubble economy. They were doing great. People were doing experimental OVAs. A lot of things went. But now, you know, now how anime works is it's, you know, sponsored by companies, and so there's a certain amount of content they have to watch out for. Not as much here, and they also do merchandising. I mean, how many people have seen a Neon Genesis Evangelion piece of merchandise today, or at the con at all? Oh, have you been to the vending room? You haven't been to the vending room then, because that's an example. That's how they make their money, but no, you don't see that a whole lot. There might be some things that you miss because they might be Japanese brand things. I know that for sure because you're not familiar with it. I'm not familiar with it. That's just how it goes. But no, Pizza Hut, things like that, you don't see that a lot. That actually is probably one of the only examples. Mostly in Japan or anime, you'll see like Budweiser or something of that sort, or McDonald's, something like that, where you know it's McDonald's and Budweiser. But I think Black Lagoon didn't have that though, right? They did. It was actually Budweiser.
Yes, that was actually.
Or Heineken.
Yeah, they did Heineken.
I think like I don't know how it works in Japan, but in America, I know there's certain times like game companies, for example, have to actually pay Coke to show Coke machines in the games if the company's not willing to sponsor. Go figure that, if they want more realism. But no, it's not usually. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Though it's like you want anime to be realistic, but if you see Pizza, that's distracting. So it's like you want it to be realistic, but you also want it to be an escapist thing, so you don't want to think of reality. But then they put, you know, Pizza Hut in there, and then you're like, wait, that's pizza, and that throws you out even more. So it's kind of weird.
I noticed that an American version versus the Japanese version, and then cutting that out and censoring it is shortening it so much.
Yeah, it's yeah, they did cut out the pizza stuff
Yeah,
in.
they cut out like Pizza Hut roast that you can see in code kiosks. They cut that out of the American version.
I can actually see that, because if you can't, even though it's like you're watching Code Geass and you see that, and suddenly you'd think, well, they should let that in there no matter what, because, well, you're watching it, you're like, I want some Pizza Hut for some reason. I will go to the phone now. It's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing with, like, I have to contact anime companies to get permission to. We have to contact anime companies to get permission to show things. Why? Because you show a couple episodes, and people like it, and they're going to go buy it. Well, you know, it's licensing. This whole convention is a culminated effort of the Japanese club, the anime club on campus, and the gaming club on campus. And so I'm experienced in getting licenses to show things. And I tried to get Millennium Actress, something that's not at all mainstream, shown in our theater, and it's owned by DreamWorks. And they actually said, well, that'll be $175 to show that. I'm like, what? I can go to manga and get Ghost in the Shell, which is going to be a bigger draw, for free. So it's licensing. The bigger the company, the less likely you are to get it for free. The weird thing about the weird rule to that is a company like Funimation, which has shown big love to us by donating prizes and that, and just being all around awesome. They just hand the licenses out. I can get a license in 10 minutes. I could probably contact our rep now, and if she's there, and say, hey, I want to show back. Is that all right? Yeah, go ahead. So licensing, but And yeah, that's kind of annoying too that they cut for that. The lovely lady in the front.
I have an impression on merchandising and reason for censorship. I'm a little bit older than you, so I had
Not much.
a good wide span of looking at how they do it and why they do it. And the reason, like your previous slide where Sailor Moon cleavage is cut off, it also affects the merchandising. What is their target market when they introduce it to America?
Yeah.
You have to realize in the 80s, when all this stuff was going on, the target market was this high and below.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not until the few recent years that it started being marketed for teenagers
Right.
and up, and they wanted, their target market, parents, to don't say, oh my God,
Yeah.
that
Absolutely.
they're showing my little 10-year-old girl
Sailor Moon.
cleavage and stuff because they wanted to
Yeah.
be able to market out.
Sailor Moon is an incredible example. Let's look at the cleavage again. Again, I see more cleavage at the local mall every day than this. I see things that are more offensive. You're at a Japanese animation convention. Even a small one like this, like GarasuNoShiCon, we had a couple people, including our cosplay director, who this is conservative by that, highly conservative. This is non-material. Sailor Moon is an incredibly interesting license because, like the beautiful woman here said, it's not like I know her or anything. It was released here. That's one of the shows that brought anime into the mainstream, along with Dragon Ball. It was appealed to girls. It was brought here censored, of course, and it was marketed, for a younger audience, for an American audience, so it's censored. We had kissing cousins, and girls didn't have nipples, and it was a good ride for them. But then, demand for Sailor Moon, I think it's more for posterity than actual quality of the show. I mean, I own both American volumes of the ADV's uncensored version of it, so I'm going to watch it. But what I saw of it, it's kind of formatic. It's not insanely good, but I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it anyway. But fans wanted it here uncensored. Your only outlet was the pirated DVD. So Toei decided, okay, why are we losing money, precious licensing fees to the pirates? Let's let ADV release uncensored versions. Interestingly enough, Genion/Pioneer released uncensored versions of Sailor Moon S, and those are kind of out of print now, of course, and sought after. Some individual DVDs are going for like $30, $40. I got a couple of them on the cheap, and I'm like, I should sell these. No, I'm never going to find these again. Never mind. But so ADV releases these box sets